welcome back to my channel. It's Christina with Read.Pray.Disney. Here on this channel, we like to talk all things Disney, from packing to planning to pins to books. So for today's video, welcome back. Y'all, chapters 33 through 37 is what we're going to get into today. You're like, man, Christina, that's a lot. It's a chunk. Yeah, but we're going downhill like this. Remember, I told you guys, we only have 42. Is it 42? No, 40. Let me get my numbers right. I don't know why I said it like that. What? We only have 44 chapters left. So here we go. All right. So if you remember, again, you got the whole spill of, if this is your first video with me in this Evil Queen book series, hi, welcome. Thank you for clicking. Please go back to find video number 1, because you're going to be lost in the sauce, because we deep off up in this book. We real deep. Okay. All right. So last time, Everly, remember last time, Everly decided that she wanted to break that mirror, or not break the mirror. When I say break the mirror, she quote unquote wanted to release Roth and Saxon from that mirror dimension that they were in. It's not like the dimension in the mirror. I should say that. It's not a mirror dimension, because that kind of denotes that it's like a alternative. Anyway, she wanted to get them out the mirror. Okay, so she fell asleep. And remember, she's in Roth's room, so she fell asleep. So during that time of her sleeping soundly and all of that, guess who comes in? Let me get to my notes, because I have really got to follow my notes. So Farrah and Vikander finally catch up with her, and they caught Everly off guard in her sleep. And Farrah and Everly, you know, they begin to fight. Like it's an all-on fight. Remember, Farrah is ticked. She's pissed. She's angry. She's hurt, because everyone in the kingdom believes that Everly is the one who killed the king. When we remember, the king, he's the one who killed himself, because he touched Everly, because when she was full of all that poison, she's like, no, stay back. But for her, it was just easier for everybody to fear her even more so. And then also, remember, they think that she took his magic, siphoned off his magic. So she's never told anyone. So Farrah's attacking, and they're in the room and they're fighting. So Everly decides that she's going to do that illusion magic. And so the illusion magic, she creates her another copy of herself, essentially, and sits it on the bed. And then she not escapes, but she goes to a different part of the room with that, with an invisibility magic. Wow. What are these allergies? So she goes to the other side of the room with the invisibility magic. So during the course of this, Farrah is like attacking her, brutally trying to attack her, and straight up trying to kill her. And then you have Truly in the background screaming, no, she's my sister. You know, like, and it caught Everly off guard, for she's like, hold on, wait, you're really fearing for me, you know? So anyway, Truly's really trying to defend Everly and try to keep Farrah from harming her. And even Truly speaks up and says, you can't harm her. She's my sister, you know? And she then tells Farrah that the truth of how they're sisters and how they're related and blah, blah, blah. And Farrah freaks out even more, right? So she is on this whirlwind of rage. So Everly takes Farrah through one of the mirrors into the throne room, and they keep fighting. If Saxon ends up flying in and trying to stopping this whole thing, because Saxon, So Vikander was there with Farrah, and but Vikander doesn't really stop it. He tells her that she needs to stop it. This isn't what her brother wants, but he doesn't actively try to stop it either. And so Saxon ends up flying into the throne room and stopping them, you know, getting in between them. And Everly's like, wait a minute, if Saxon's here, then where's Roth? And he's like, I flew ahead, Roth rode. So he's on his way, right? So during all of this scuffle and whatnot, they end up Everly ends up losing, and Everly is taken back to the tower. So she truly doesn't want, oh, side note. So remember in Snow White, y'all, so in Snow White, remember in the story of Snow White, the evil queen first tries to kill Snow White by choking her with the bodice, the corset thing, right? And then the second thing she tries to do is poison her with a comb, a hair comb. And then the last thing was the apple. So remembering that, Everly realizes that Farah is wearing like this bodice thing. And so she says, oh, well, you know, that must be my thing. That's what I have to do. So because the bodice was, I guess, scratched and torn in the fight. And so there was some string hanging off of it. So she tries to choke Farah with it, and essentially trying to enact the evil queen, part of that evil queen thing. But here's the thing. It seems forced. It seems very, very forced. It's more like the bodice was torn and all that out of the fight, not necessarily something that was like, I don't know. The more and more I read, the more I wonder if our author is going to throw us a doozy and Everly is not our evil queen like we think. I don't know. So, anyway. Anywho, so they fighting, they arguing and everything. All this is happening. And Saxon's like, yo, y'all need to chill. Like, this ain't how we do. And Everly is like, is somebody gonna help me? You know, and then as Saxon ends up taking her down and all that, you know, Roth is essentially, he's still riding up to the castle. So they end up taking her, Everly, into the tower and kind of putting her in there again. And at that point, Roth is angry, and rightfully so, right? We come to find out Roth really and truly did not know that the whole thing was going to happen the way it did, as far as him putting that spell, what was it called? Anyway, him putting that spell on her to where compelling her. He didn't know that his compulsion was going to play out the way it does. So that, because in the back of my mind, I was wondering, even my mom and I had this conversation of whether or not Roth really knew if part of the ceremony was for Everly to get married to his dad. So, but thankfully he didn't know any of that. So anyway, let's see. Yeah, so she gets knocked out and dragged down, dragged to the collar. She gets the tower, and the collar gets put back on her. And Farah, y'all, if there was any part of this story that had me feeling some kind of way, it's in chapter 33. Farah goes crazy, and she has Everly beat, like whipped. Not just like spanked, not just like a few blows here and there. No, she is beat, whipped. I know you lost your dad, and I know in the whole thing of things, you've also just lost the love of your life but you didn't lose her because she's not dead. It's your prejudice as to why you're losing, truly. So Farah is all kinds of hurt, and she's taking it out, all of it out on Everly. And this is where I put down again, Everly is not getting a fair shake. Like, granted, she made choices, but dang, just dang. Anyway, so she's beaten. And so she said, so Roth comes back, and he's like, he stops the whole beating and all that. And he's talking to Farah, and he's like, why are you doing this? Well, I can't understand why you're doing it. She goes, I'm doing this for 3 reasons. Because she killed our father, she ruined Truly, and she took our palace. And Saxon is the one that says, no, or that didn't really happen like that. And Roth is backing that up and saying, you know, that she only did 2 of those things. And as far as taking the palace, Saxon says, well, she did a really good job for being queen, you know, like, because she did. She really, really did. So anyway, there's all of that. So in chapter 34, so they leave Farah. Farah is, taken out of there, and Truly is left there in the tower. Yeah. So 34. So in 34, let me get to y'all. I didn't think this book had it in them, but it did. So in 34, so Roth is the one who tends to Everly's wounds, and he struggles with his feelings. Like he wants to, this, right? We know this. He's struggling with his feelings. He loves her, and we know he loves her. He's not said that he loves her, but we know he loves her. We know that she loves him, but she's hating him, and she hates the fact that she loves him, or at least strongly likes. So there's that whole part of the story. But he's like, I don't know whether I really, really like him or I just want to punch him in his face, because he too is making choices. Like he's choosing. Let me just tell you about it. Okay. So anyway, Roth tries to explain the events of what happened. So to kind of comfort Everly, he tries to explain to her that, as soon as they got out of the mirror thing, they went to go look. That was the first thing they did, was go look for Hartley, because he was trying to keep his promise to Everly. So the first thing they did was go look for Hartley, but then they got word that his father died, and what happened. And so then they came back. And Everly's not trying to hear any of it. Like her heart is like, yes, thank you. But her mind, that whole duality that she's struggling with, her mind is like, no, it doesn't matter what he says. It doesn't matter what he's doing. He's allowed all this to happen. And so, like I said, she doesn't want anything to do with him. But then he keeps coming back, and he keeps taking care of her. And at some point, he even brings a mirror to her. And remember, she's bloody and torn up, because it was her back that was beat. So she's bloody and torn up, and he brings her like the mirror, and remember, she's in the tower, but it's very decked out, because she's the one who had it decked out for Truly to begin with. So he left all of that there, and even added things to make her comfortable. So anyway, he becomes king, and hold on, back up. Annika. Remember Annika? Annika is there to help Everly, get ready and clean. And like, what burns Everly up is that Annika is the one who is sent to take care of Everly's feminine needs. So anytime she needs to use the restroom or she needs to clean herself, Annika's there for that. So it's just burning Everly alive. But Annika is doing it not out of the pleasantness, but because she is faithful to the kingdom and to, Roth. That's going to play a part later. But anyway, so we have that, let's see. So Roth becomes king, and everybody is just cheering and happy and grateful about this. And everybody's like, no one was like that for me, but obviously, right? And then we find out, let's see. So while Roth talks to Everly, he tells her that Violet, her mother, is going crazy. Like, we knew that a little bit, but we find out that, so Roth says the other king, where did I put it? Where did I put it? It was a note to myself. Roth tells Everly that the evil queen wants Everly's heart. So she's locked up for her own safety, as well as because, he doesn't trust that she won't do anything when she leaves, retaliate against his sister or anyone else. So technically she's locked up for her own safety, but her mother wants her heart. Come on. How is Everly still the evil queen? Like, that's a heavy line, right? And that's, hello, connections. But anyway, we shall see, because even all the way up to 37, we still don't know that. So anyway, all this is going on. They go back and forth about whether, Farrah and Roth argue. They are the ones that go back and forth and wants to know, she wants to hurt Everly. She wants Everly to essentially die, but she really does want to, she truly wants to inflict pain on Everly. That's all she wants. And Roth is like, nah, we're not going to do that. She's like, well, why not? And then, of course, our Spider Orpians are back. And our Spider Orpian phobia brings a friend, Webster. The heck? So Phobia and Webster have come along. And Phobia and Webster have been keeping her company in her tower. But they also bring her a comb. And Everly's like, you guys know the story too. So this poisonous comb, maybe it's for nefarious purposes. Who knows? Anywho, chapter 35 then. So let me flip back over. I learned my lesson. I just put my notes at the end of the chapter versus writing it all the way through the chapter because I never get to every single page in these things. So anyway, in chapter 35 then, Roth is he's Everly's now getting stronger, and so Roth is she's getting stronger because she doesn't want Annika in the room, so she's forcing herself, my girl, she's forcing herself to be better, to be stronger, to walk and to move and all of that. But Annika still comes in to clean, and come to find out, Annika has been essentially beating her with the broom, like on her ribs and everything. So she has like this big bruise and stuff happening on her rib cage, because Everly's still not too strong enough to fight, but she is strong enough to move around. So there's that. Anyway, so Roth has dropped his meetings down with her for like, for once a day. And it's not meetings because he's coming to visit. We know why he's coming to visit. Anyway, so in the meantime, Everly has made friends with castle ruffian creatures. Like there's a snake she calls Cuddles. There's like these rats, ants, like these lava ants that have burrowed under her mattress because it's actually cold where they are right now. And so they burrow under her mattress and like they're like a heating blanket for her. Like she's made friends with all these castle creatures, which is really odd because she thinks, well, we think too, it's like Hartley was the one with the animal magic. So where this weird magic where she could communicate with these animals are coming from, we don't know. She suspects that it's maybe the earth magic that she siphoned. Remember when she sucked up all of those 7 witches back in that whole let's get married to the old guy? Yeah. She thinks maybe it came from one of them, but we really don't know yet where this magic comes from. But she's made friends with these castle things. Anyway, I think that's going to come into play. I have no idea. Who knows? But during this time, she is also bold. She is poisoning herself. Like, so she is having the Spider Orpians, Phobia and Webster, bite her so she could, her blood can be poisonous. Because something Roth had told her a long, long time ago is that the reasons why people, sorcerers and witches fear Spider Orpians because their blood is venomous. So she's going the route of, well, if I take a little bit every day, then I too can become venomous. Because also what makes them venomous is there's magic in their blood. So she is, smart girl, she's storing magic. Remember, she has that battery that she has to charge. So she's getting these spider bites, these Spider Orpian bites, and they're biting her every day, all day. She's like up to 8 bites a day or something like that. And she's hoping that her blood will become poisonous, and it's also charging her battery. So her plan is to test it out on somebody. So she thinks Annika's gonna come back. And so she cuts herself and she bloodies up the broom handle, right? So when Annika touches it to see if her blood's poisonous, then Annika would, suffer some pain and anguish and whatnot. But it's Roth, that one that comes to the room. And when Roth comes to the room, she kind of backs off of that idea of poisoning him because he looked good. She's like, damn, I was gonna kill you, but maybe I'll talk to you for a little bit first. So he brings this like chess table thing in, and he wants to play a game. Like, in my mind, what was that movie with the little clown thing on the bike? Like, it's like, you want to play a game? Like, it's that mixed with Harry Potter and the chess pieces. So he brings in this game because, and I forgot what he calls it, whatever he calls it, but essentially it's like it's like chess truth or dare without the dare. So as you move your pieces, if your opponent asks a question and you lie, then your piece doesn't move and the other piece gets to kill it. But if you tell the truth, then you can move your pieces across the board, and eventually, whoever kills the other side wins, kind of thing. So he's like, I just want to get to know you. I just want to get to know you better. And what we find out about Everly is that she still, after all of this, has a good heart. Because the first time one of her little chess pieces dies, because she tries to lie to him, he says, because she's shook, she's hurt, and he goes, yeah, hopefully they'll get compensated, and the family will get compensated of the little chess piece. And she freaks out. She's like, I didn't mean to kill him, And he's like looking at her, and he's like, it's fake, like it's just magic. It's leftover magic. This thing was enchanted many, many moons ago. And so what we come to find out, essentially that whole dialogue piece was just to give us a little plot point that items that witches enchant stay enchanted even long after the witch is dead. So I think that little nugget of information is going to come back later. Or else why the heck did he need to tell us this? But anyway, so they play the game. So they start the game off, and she ends up telling him the truth about his father and how he died. And come to find out, he does and he doesn't blame her, but he is thankful that he knows the truth, and she feels good for telling it. And all chapter 36 is them going back and forth on the game. Like, it's nothing but their questions back and forth to each other. So essentially he wants to know about her childhood. He wants to know about her boyfriends. He wants to know about, does she really feel that she's evil? He asks her all kinds of questions, and she does too. And in the midst of all of this, there are some heavy flirtatious moments. Neither one of them are going to act on them, but neither one of them are bringing them to the forefront either. It's just everything is innuendo, so it's right there on the surface. It's like if one of them would just say, look, our past was our past, but this is my feelings. Let's try to make this right. Then do it. But neither one of them are trying to do that. So throughout the whole the game situation, Farrah truly ends up, she ends up telling him some things about herself, and, she learns things about Roth, but ultimately, all we learn really is that they make stupid choices. Like, it ends with Roth saying, even though that he has feelings for her, there's still the point of this curse, not curse, but this whole fairy tale. But we do find out that because Farrah, one of the reasons why Farrah is upset with Roth, because she thinks Roth needs to get married. And this was back in like 35 or something. And because Roth is walking around brooding and blah, 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 blah. But until he talks, and really he's pining. He's not brooding, he's pining, right? There's a difference. But to Farrah, it looks like he's brooding about. And so anyway, so Farrah's saying, look, you need to get married because you need a wife so we can align our forces, because if Violet is threatening war, because Violet, remember her, Farrah's Truly and Everly's mother, if she incites war, their forces are pretty thin. So anyway, we come to find out that, because he says, no, I'm not going to do that, because the other lands have their own fairy tales that they're dealing with. So if y'all remember a while ago, I told you there are more books in this series, but this one ends with these folks and it picks up with a different tale. And so that's kind of what he's alluding to, because remember, Roth was trying to read up on all of the other lands and their fairy tale problems and their fairy tale curses and things like that. So just saying. Anyway, so all said and done, no one acts on their feelings, and then they bring back the fairy tale situation. And that's where we're at, you know, truly a little ticked. We find, one of the things that Truly does find out also is that Hartley is doing just fine. Hartley's doing more than just fine, which is what the Oracle told us before. Hartley, so when part of the time when Farah is in the, or when Truly is in the, part of the time when Everly is in her room, she scries with that little mirror and she asks to see, you know, everybody. And she checks on Hartley, and Hartley is doing just fine. She made the trolls promise not to hurt her sister. And the Troll King, he's like, you don't tell me what to do, and blah, blah, blah. She's like, I'm going to tell you, you're not going to hurt my sister, and you will promise me. And something's going on there because we feel like they might actually like each other, might even love each other. She sees something in him. But anyway, so they're holding their own and she's fine. But it's always annoys me that Everly wants to get to her. Like, I need to save her, but she doesn't need to be saved. So anyway, but that's all we got. That's it. That's it. We're going downhill, but we're almost there, guys. So thank you for watching. I greatly appreciate it. And as always, know I'll be praying for you. Have a magically blessed day. Bye.